Watching the best on public television. WPBY Channel 33, Huntington, Charleston, West Virginia.
It's a North Central Texas shootout as Temple takes on Plano.
The Texaco Star National Academic Championship is made possible by Texaco and the Texaco Foundation, committed to the education of America's youth. Welcome to the Texaco Star National Academic Championship, showcasing our nation's brightest high school scholars as they test their academic skills. More than 2,500 teams accepted the challenge, with the finalists vying for top honors at the campus of Rice University in Houston. Only one team will win. Now, here's your host, Chip Field.
'84 championship teams from all across the U.S. made the trip to Houston for this tournament. Now we're down to the final three, and in our second semifinal match, 2 Texas teams have advanced. The winning school from this program is assured of at least $25,000 in Texaco Foundation scholarships. So welcome and good luck to Plano and Temple. Contestants, this sound means you're right. This tone, incorrect. And this sound, the end of each period. Good luck to both schools. Your first question of the warm-up round is a 5-pointer. This 750,000 square mile body of water washes the coasts of at least 12 Latin American and West Indian republics.
Temple David. Caribbean Sea.
And it's the Caribbean Sea for 5 points. A 10-pointer now. Which government agency operates and maintains more than 300 lighthouses for boats in the United...
Plano I Ching.
U.S. Coast Guard.
In the United States, Coast Guard is right. For 10 points in fox hunting, this cry is shouted when the fox is sighted.
Temple David.
Tally-ho. Tally-ho. It's believed to be a contraction of the French phrase, il est temps. For 5 points, its rates are $10 per room, but business had been rather slow, and sometimes all 12 of its cabins are vacant. Nevertheless, those guests who check in tend not to check out. Name this fictional.
Temple Michael.
The Bates Motel. That's what we're going for. Created by Alfred Hitchcock. A 10-point visual question. Look at your screen, please. Now classified as a salmon, this colorful trout became bluish.
Temple David.
Rainbow trout.
And then is called a steelhead. Rainbow trout is correct for 10 points. President Taft started 2 baseball traditions in 1910.
Temple David.
Throwing out the first ball at the World Series.
Name both of them, Plano.
Plano I Ching.
Throwing out the first ball in the World Series and singing the national anthem.
No, he threw out the ball at the season's opening game, not the World Series. And also, he started the 7th inning stretch. For 10 points, in front of the New Orleans Museum of Art is a white sculpture called Lipizzaner. What animal does it...
Plano Dan.
A horse.
Sure, it's a horse. 10 points added to the Plano score. I have a 5-pointer. It was written in a suite on the 2nd floor of Istanbul's glamorous Tarapolis Hotel. While the author stayed in Istanbul, her characters left in a train bound for Paris.
Plano Raj.
Agatha Christie, Murder on the Orient Express.
That's the title we were looking for. You have 5 points, and I have a 10-pointer. Edna St. Vincent Millay was not just a great poet. She was also a skilled amateur mathematician. According to the title of one of her sonnets, what Greek geometer alone has looked on beauty bare?
Temple David.
Euclid.
Euclid alone has looked on beauty bare. For 5 points, a music question. Name the Grammy-winning album from which this next selection is taken.
Hey, hey, baby, hey.
Temple Michael.
Eric Clapton, Unplugged.
Yes. And the man with the headphones, when he's not playing this game, got that one right. For 10 points, match these capital cities. Aachen, Camelot, London, and Thebes, with these rulers. Ramses, Queen Elizabeth, King Arthur, and Charlemagne.
Temple David.
Okay, Ramses is Thebes, Queen Elizabeth is London, King Arthur is Camelot, and Charlemagne is Aachen.
That is right. You have 10 more points. Here's a 5-pointer, another history question. Name the only full calendar year in which John Kennedy served as president.
Plano Raj.
1962.
You're right, Raj. For 10 points, when you call a friend in Spain, her husband answers the phone and says, Mi esposa está dormido.
Plano, Steve.
My husband is asleep.
Why couldn't your friend come to the phone, Temple?
Temple, Michael.
He's asleep.
Yes, that is correct. Not the husband. The wife was asleep, so we couldn't give it to you, Steve. For 10 points, a math question. How many more edges than vertices does a triangular-based pyramid have?
Temple, David.
2.
That is correct. I have a visual question now worth 10. The medium is acrylic and oil on canvas. Ron Cohen.
Temple, David.
Willie Mays.
It is Willie Mays, right? That exciting World Series moment from his career. For 5 points, the rate at which the expansion of the universe is increasing is crucial to determining how or if the universe will end. This deceleration factor is appropriately named after what final letter of the Greek alphabet?
Temple, Michael.
Omega. Omega is right. And Temple is hot, and that is the end of the warm-up round. Two fine Texas teams have advanced to the semifinals of the Nationals. At this point, Plano, Texas has 30, Temple, Texas has 90. These two teams have actually already met earlier this season in competition. At the Texas State Championship, it was Plano over Temple in the quarterfinals by only 30 points. At this point, however, Temple leads it by 60. Now let's focus on each one of our outstanding contestants. First of all, from Plano Senior High School, this is an all-senior team. Raj Raghavan is the captain, salutatorian of his class of 1,350 students. He was a semifinalist on Jeopardy and is president of the speech team. He also teaches swimming to preschoolers and will attend Stanford. Now we turn to Steve Wolfman. He placed first in math at the Waves of Excellence tournament. He took fifth in the National French contest and a gold medalist in the National Latin contest. Yi Ching Wu. Yi Ching is valedictorian of her class, a Tandy Technology Scholar, presidential scholar who will attend Harvard to study medicine. And Dan Webster enjoys mountain climbing. He, too, placed in the National Latin Contest. He will attend University of Texas to study electrical engineering. Roger Benson and Min Soo Chen are their alternates. Beth Smith and Jackie Russell, their coaches. That's the team from Plano Senior High School. Their opponents from Temple, Texas, in the heart of Texas, we should say. David Knipe is their captain. His third year as their captain, actually. He's a National Merit finalist, class valedictorian, and Eagle Scout. He has acted lead roles in plays such as Our Town and Camelot. He plans to attend Duke and major in English. Now, Michael Murray. Michael's a senior. He spent a year in Ecuador as an exchange student, Model United Nations Outstanding Ambassador, and an editor of the school's literary magazine, Wildflower. Jennifer Hopens. Jennifer's a sophomore, member of the French club and golf team. She has a special interest in classic movies. And Drew Williams, a junior, Key Club vice president, plays tuba in the band and enjoys traveling. Their alternates, Tommy Massey and Dwayne Bandy. Judy West is their team coach. That's Temple High School. Raj Raghavan, what's the good word about Plano?
Well, home to the largest graduating class in Texas, Plano Senior High School is located in Plano, Texas, about 20 miles north of Dallas. Students from Plano earn more passing scores on AP tests than any other school in the nation, and Plano has also received the prestigious Blue Ribbon Award from the federal government.
That's quite impressive, Raj. Now, David Knipe, tell us about Temple.
Okay, Temple is a town of 50,000 people deep in the heart of Texas. The home of Scott and White Hospital and the owner of the Houston Astros, this town and its one public high school are quite obviously devoted to the total development of not only the body but the mind by winning the Texas 5A football championship and making at least the semifinals of the Texaco Star National Academic Championship this year.
Thanks so much, David. And now our judges. They are Cheryl Claypool, staff writer, Questions Unlimited, Columbus, Ohio. Next, we meet from Gaithersburg, Maryland, Mr. Brick Barrientos, the creator of the prestigious Maryland Classic Tournament. And from Dallas, Mike Mastandrea, who is also the chief judge of Texaco's local tournaments in Houston, Port Arthur, Texas, and White Plains, New York. We are ready now for the bonus round, Plano and Temple. You know the rules. Your first category is about writers. Here's your toss-up worth 10 points, also a literary question. Her 28th bestseller was 1991's No Greater...
Temple, David.
Danielle Steele.
No greater love. Danielle Steele is right. Uncanny anticipation. Okay, David, Michael, Jennifer, and Drew. Name the 4 great American writers who were neighbors and friends in Concord, Massachusetts, circa 1842. Their 4 families are buried on Author's Ridge in Concord's Sleepy Hollow Cemetery. You learn 5 points for the first, 10 for the second, and so forth. Fire when ready.
I say
Emerson, Thoreau,
Yes?
Browning.
Your answer?
Irving.
Got Emerson and Thoreau. Hawthorne and Louisa May Alcott are the others. You picked up 15 points. Temple now has an 85-point lead. Geology is your next bonus. Here's a 10-point toss-up. If your parents were an ornithologist and an apiologist, how might they explain the facts of life?
Temple David.
Birds and the bees.
They tell you about the birds and the bees, right. Okay, geology for 5. Lamina refers to the thinnest discernible layer in which class of rock?
Sedimentary.
Yes, lamina refers to sedimentary. For 10 points, what mineral derives its name from its snake-like green color variations?
What is it called?
Your answer?
Emerald.
So that would be, is it serpentine, judges?
Oh,
Yes. World War II is your next bonus. Here's a 10-point toss-up. Give me this one-syllable word and its spelling. It's a sample piece of cloth or other material.
Plano Dan.
Swatch, S-W-A-T-C-H.
Right, Dan. 10 points, and Plano is going to play catch-up now. World War II for 5 points. Who said soldiers and sailors and airmen of the Allied Expeditionary Force, you are about to embark upon a great crusade toward which we have striven these many months. The order of the day was issued on June 6, 1944.
Eisenhower.
Correct. For 10 points, according to Franklin Roosevelt in his speech of June 10, 1940, what did Italy do with a metaphorical dagger on the day it invaded France?
Stabbed itself in the heart.
So it stuck it into the back of its neighbor. You picked up 5, Plano. Math bonus is next. To get there, a 5-point audio toss-up. Tell me which of the 3 Bs composed this keyboard piece in 3/4 time.
Plano I Ching.
Brahms.
You picked the right one, I Ching. Brahms. From one of his waltzes. Okay, Raj, Steve, I Ching, and Dan for 5 points. In the math bonus, what is the value of -2 to the 4th power? You have 5 seconds.
Positive 16.
That is correct. For 10 points, in terms of pi cubic inches, what is the volume of a right circular cone having a radius of 3 inches and a height of 5 inches? You have 10 seconds to figure it out.
15 pi cubic inches.
Right. For 15 points, what is the height, start over. What is the area of a trapezoid whose upper base is 10 centimeters, whose lower base is 14 centimeters, and whose height is 5 centimeters? We'll give you 15 seconds.
60 square centimeters.
They only needed 2 seconds. You're right. For 20 points and a total of 50, give both coordinates of the foci of this ellipse. X squared over 25 plus y squared over 16 equals 1. You have 20 seconds.
That's the center. Okay. The foci are going to be 25 and 16, so that's 5 and 4, so 3, 9, so it's going to be 3 away, -3, comma 0 and 3, comma 0. Sure. Is that it? I think so.
-3, 0, and 3, 0.
Yes.
Is right for 20 points and a total of 50. Assist from Steve Wolfman, that first place winner in math. And that is the end of the bonus round. And our score at this point is 100 for Plano, 130 for Temple. Both teams from Texas in this second semifinal match. Questions used on the Texaco Star National Academic Championship are researched, prepared, and provided by Questions Unlimited of Columbus, Ohio. Teams, your 60-second categories for this match are Freud, Magellan, Whitman, and the mystery category. Make a selection, then we'll give you 60 seconds to answer as many 10-pointers as you can. Any questions missed or passed will be referred to your opponents. If you get them all right, we'll give you a 20-point bonus. Before advancing to this match, Plano has posted a 6-0 record in previous competitions here and at Rice University, and Temple a 5-1 record against other champions. Plano, you're up to bat first, so make it a good one. Raj?
Mystery category?
Mystery category is Sam Houston. Start the clock, here we go. Name any 1 year in the life of Sam Houston.
1836.
He served as governor of 2 states. Texas was one, name the other.
No, Kentucky.
Kentucky?
In 1814, he took a little trip and served under what military leader in the Creek Wars?
Andrew Jackson?
Name a public office he held in the 1820s.
Senator?
He married a woman of which Indian nation?
Comanche?
In what year did he lead the Texas Army to a brilliant victory over Santa Anna in the Battle of San Jacinto?
1836.
Name a political office he held during the 1830s.
President of Texas.
President of Texas.
He was forced out of office as governor in 1861 when Texas voted to do what?
Secede.
Locate Fort Sam Houston.
Austin. I don't know.
Nacogdoches?
Where does the city of Houston rank among U.S. cities by population?
5th.
And it was 50 points for Plano on the mystery category. Sam Houston. Temple, a possible 50 for you. Sam Houston served as governor of 2 states. Texas was one, name the other.
Tennessee.
That is correct. Name a public office he held in the 1820s.
Governor.
Governor of Tennessee is right. He married a woman of which Indian nation?
Cherokee.
Right. Locate Fort Sam Houston.
San Antonio.
Right. And where does the city of Houston rank?
4th.
It does. It ranks 4th. 50 points for each team on Sam Houston. Temple, you're looking pretty good. Which of these people would you like as your mystery person, or as your 60-second choice?
Drum test leaves
Whitman.
Whitman is the subject. Start the clock. Here we go. Walt Whitman edited the Brooklyn Freeman for 1 year to promote what cause?
Abolitionism.
What New York City political machine did Whitman work with?
Boss Tweed.
More specific?
The Tammany Hall.
What president did Whitman praise for his purist party?
Lincoln.
When lilacs last in the dooryard bloomed is considered the last great example of what mournful poem type?
An elegy.
What people who opened the West are asked in the title of the poem that asks, have you your sharp-edged axes?
Pioneers.
In what year did Whitman publish the centennial collection of his poems? Centennial.
1876.
What northeastern U.S. island, Whitman's birthplace, did he have great affection for?
Some island. Say an island.
Long Island.
What specific 1861 event inspired Whitman to write the poem
Beginning of the Civil War.
In what decade did Whitman first win fame with Leaves of Grass?
1830s. And time running.
Incorrect on that last one, but you did get the first 8 right. 80 points. Very impressive on the subject of Walt Whitman. A possible 10 for Plano. In what decade did Whitman first win fame with Leaves of Grass?
1850s?
That is correct. And the 60 seconds round is now over. The score as we move on is 160 for Plano, Temple 260. Now, players, we move into Stump the Experts. The stakes are higher, the questions are more difficult. Good luck to both teams as we continue with a 15-point visual question. This Iowan was a leader of regionalism, a movement that dominated.
Plano I Ching.
Grant Wood.
Grant Wood is right for 15 points. I have a math question now for 15. What is the total surface area of a cube having an edge of 30 inches?
Temple David.
5,400.
5,400 square inches is right, including the units. For 20 points, the Children's Television Workshop is producing a program aimed at the growing illiteracy problem in the United States. Name this program.
Plano I Ching.
Reading Rainbow.
Name this program airing on public television.
Temple Michael.
Barney the dinosaur.
We have Ghostwriter. For 15 points, name the piscivorous natatorial bird with a distensible mandibular pouch.
Plano Raj.
Penguin?
Temple Drew.
The pelican.
It is the pelican Drew, right. For 20 points, if you're familiar with the parable of the prodigal son, you know that when the prodigal returned home to the delight of his father, the elder brother was displeased. Who else was unhappy at the prodigal's return?
Temple David.
The prodigal son was unhappy. He was crying because he was so ashamed of what he had done to it with his father's money.
That's incorrect, Plano.
Plano Steve.
The mother?
No, the fatted calf was unhappy at the prodigal's return. Here's a 15-point music question. Listen to this Insomniac's anthem and name that tune.
Jumped out of bed, turned on the light, pulled down the
Temple Jennifer.
Foolish Splash. I was taking a bath.
Not the Bobby Darin tune.
I jumped back into bed, it was the middle of the night.
Plano Dan.
Midnight Dance.
Tell them, audience. Tossin' and turning, right. For 15 points, Ethiopia is Black Africa's oldest state, tracing its history back more than 2 millennia. Of all African nations, it most successfully withstood European attempts to
Plano I Ching.
Italy.
colonization, remaining independent throughout its history, with the exception of a 6-year period during which it was occupied by Italy. Name any one of these years of occupation. Temple.
Temple Michael.
1936.
Correct. 1935 through 1941. I have a 20-pointer. In what city did the Italian songs O Sole Mio and Santa Lucia
Plano Dan.
Venice.
originate? Temple.
Temple Michael.
Rome. Naples. For 15 points, Mrs. Smith, upset with her employees, typed a 3-word memo to her secretary, Mrs. Jones. Mrs. Smith accidentally placed each of her fingers 1 key to the right of its normal position on the keyboard. The following message was typed. UPI-STR-GOTRF. What was the message to Mrs. Jones supposed to say?
Plano Steve.
You are fired.
That is correct. For 20 points, what is the connection between Heliopolis, New York, and London?
Plano Dan.
They all have obelisks.
We want them.
Yes, obelisk, Cleopatra's Needle, originally taken from Heliopolis to England, and so forth. For 20 points, an art question. Identify either the title of this painting or the name of the artist.
Plano Dan.
School of Athens.
No, but that's a good try. Name of the artist famous for such lavish banquet scenes.
Temple Michael.
Raphael.
Well, that's Veronese's feast at the house of Levi. For 20 points, shortly before his death, Arthur Ashe commented that as hard as it was to deal with AIDS, it was not as trying as what?
Plano I Ching.
Being a black man.
That is the answer. Ring up 20 for Plano. For 15 points, I will never live for the sake of another man, nor ask any other man to live for mine, is the philosophy of a new society.
Plano Raj.
Ayn Rand, Objectivism.
Being built by the characters of what novel by Ayn Rand?
Temple David.
Fountainhead.
No, Raj, you know now. Atlas Shrugged, right. For 20 points, name the most famous person ever to try out for the Washington Senators.
Temple Michael.
Fidel Castro.
It was Fidel Castro. And his hanging curve changed the course of world history. For 15 points, complete these lines taken from Martin Luther King's tombstone. Free at last, free at last.
Plano I Ching.
God Almighty, I'm free at last.
Right. For 20 points, from which of Richard Wagner's operas is this choral selection taken?
Plano Raj.
Das Rheingold.
Not that one.
Temple Jennifer.
Tannhauser.
Another good guess, the Meister Singer. For 15 points, by the time I'm finished reading this first sentence, 10 million trillion of them will have penetrated your body. By the time I'm...
Temple Michael with 2 minutes.
Ultraviolet rays.
By the time I'm finished reading the second sentence, all of them will be beyond the moon's orbit. What are these ultra-penetrating...
Plano Dan.
Photons.
probably massless subatomic particles, neutrinos? For 20 points, what French astronomer published his list of 103 celestial objects in 1771?
Plano Raj.
Pascal.
Not Pascal. Temple.
Temple Michael.
Could it be Descartes?
Well, Charles Messier. For 15 points, military historians consider him one of the greatest military leaders of the 19th century, on a par with Napoleon and Robert E. Lee. Who was this conqueror and king of the Zulu tribe who created...
Plano Dan.
Shaka Zulu.
Shaka Zulu is right. For 15 points, the last movement of Beethoven's Ninth features a setting of Schiller's...
Plano I Ching.
Ode to Joy. Which is the
Ode to Joy. Musicologists believe that Schiller originally planned to call the ode something else, which would have involved changing the choral shouts of Freude, meaning joy, to Freiheit, which means what?
Temple David.
ode to freedom.
Freedom is right for 15 and for 20 points. In California, 150 cities and agencies will pay over $45 million in settlement of a federal pollution lawsuit, charging them with dumping hundreds of tons of chemicals into two bodies of water adjoining the Pacific Ocean. Name either one.
Plano, I Ching.
San Francisco Bay.
Not that one. Either one of them. Temple.
Temple, David.
Colorado River.
No. Santa Monica Bay and Long Beach Harbor. For 15 points, following a 12-year war, Afghanistan currently ranks as the third poorest country in the world. Its production of what crop, however, rivals that of Burma?
Temple, David.
Oh, no. Rice.
Not right. Plano, do you know?
Plano, Raj.
Wheat.
No, it is opium. There's the tone. The contest is over. The final score, Plano 260, Temple 340. The winners in advancing to the finals, Temple, Texas. Our congratulations to Plano Senior High School on an outstanding tournament. Our best wishes. Temple faces Torrey Pines in the finals. Don't miss that one. Chip Beal, see you then.